In today's episode, let us review how the British continued their crimes, brutality, and inhuman practices in Hindustan. As the people could not pay the exaggerated taxes imposed by the East India Company, and as they were constrained to sell what all they could produce at the least price which was decided or determined by the East India Company, and they were constrained to buy the basic necessities for day-to-day life, paying high prices, which also was decided by the East India Company, as local rulers were either constrained to surrender or were killed. Any attempt to express the disagreement or resistance were brutally suppressed by pointing the guns or the swords. The people of Hindustan, who lived in abundance, peace, and harmony, began to become poor day by day, as the industries were totally smashed systematically, and the benefit of the agriculture was only for the British, and as the people of Hindustan were constrained to work as slaves for the least salary paid by the East India Company, the people of Hindustan could not survive the intentionally imposed famines. So they began to die day by day. Almost all agricultural products were exported to Britain or to the rest of the European continent, whereby terrible famines were intentionally imposed in Hindustan, which was the richest country in the world until the arrival of the British, that is, until AD 1600. And at the same time, the British began to enjoy exaggerated luxury with the wealth plundered or looted from the people of Hindustan. As Hindustan became increasingly crucial to British prosperity, several millions of the citizens of Hindustan were neglected and abandoned to slow death in terrible starvation, while millions of tons of wheat and rice were exported to Britain. As a result of this systematically programmed practice, a series of terrible famines were intentionally imposed in Hindustan. And the most important, the most terrible of those famines were the Great Bengal famine of 1770 to 80, the Madras and Chalisa famine of 1782-84, Doji Bara famine of 1791 to 92, Agra famine of 1837 to 38, Upper Doab famine of 1860-61, Orissa famine 1865 to 67, the Southern India famine of 1876-77, the Great Indian famine of 1896-97, Second Bengal famine of 1943 to 44. The years indicated against each of these famines were the period during which the death toll was the maximum. And all these famines never ceased completely. So now let us see some of the terrible scenes of those famines, the sufferance of our ancestors, and at the same time, some of the scenes of the exaggerated enjoyment of luxury by the British. Please pay your attention to compare the photographs of both these extremes. Today, we shall see some of those scenes during the Great Bengal Famine. This is one of the hundreds or even thousands of terrible scenes of the Great Bengal Famine of 1770, during which the death toll was about 10 million. Please observe what our ancestors, who were citizens of the richest country in the world until 1600, had to suffer by the criminal activities of the British. And these are scenes of luxury enjoyed by the British during the 16th to 19th century, and thereafter creating terrible famines and cruel holocaust in Hindustan. See this picture. All these were citizens of Hindustan, which was the richest country, until the arrival of the British, in spite of what all terrible disasters were committed by those who came from the Arab world and the Mughal world, and also by the Portuguese. In spite of all those crimes and brutality and looting and plundering committed by those invaders in Hindustan, until 1600, the nation was the richest in the world. We have seen this fact through the affirmations of famous historians and authors and philosophers who really analyzed the history honestly. And here is an example of the exaggerated luxury enjoyed by the British with the wealth deprived from these people. This is another scene of the Great Bengal Famine. Please note the situation. These photographs are self-explanatory. No extra explanation is necessary. And compare this situation to this, which was the result of the exploitation of the wealth of these people who were dying. Here we have another scene, again, of the Great Bengal Famine, and compare this situation to this one, which was happening at the same time. Another scene from the Great Bengal Famine. I hope you can see well and understand what this photograph is about. And remember, the death toll was about 10 million. So these type of scenes were quite common. And compare this reality which happened to the richest country of the world until 1600 due to what was going on in Britain at that time by looting the wealth of these people who were dying or destined to die terribly and slowly by starvation. Another scene, similar terrible scene of the Great Bengal Famine. And compare this situation to pay for this situation. Just watch and make your own affirmations. Again, another scene from the Great Bengal Famine. This innocent girl destined to die, abandoned somewhere on the ground. Who can deny that this little girl abandoned to die in such a terrific situation was the member of a family which was living in harmony, felicity, and in abundance. And due to the activities or due to the terrible crimes committed by the British, this innocent child was destined to be abandoned like this and die slowly by starving, while others enjoyed exaggeratedly with the wealth deprived from these people during the invasion and looting of Hindustan by the Arabs and the Mughals. Millions and millions of people were killed, but the vast majority of them were killed by cutting the throats. So the death was instant. The sufferance, the pain was only for a few seconds or minutes. But just think about the scenes we have seen now, and just think how slowly and how terribly those people died. So what was committed by the British was 100 or 1,000 times more terrible than what was committed by the Arabs and Mughals, and more close to what was done by the soldiers of Francis Xavier of the Portuguese during his attempt to convert the people of Goa to Christianity, and also the same attempt by the Islamic invaders to convert the people of Hindustan to Islam. Those activities were extremely cruel and terrible, but the slow death caused by the intentionally induced famines in Hindustan by the British was several hundreds or thousands of times more terrible than the assassination of millions of the citizens of Hindustan by the Arabs and the Mughals. In the next episode, or next episodes, at least 3 or 4 of them, we will be continuing to examine the situations happened during other famines, which you have seen in the list I have presented today. And if you feel that those sufferings of our ancestors who belong to the richest country in the world until 1600 is important for the new generation to remember in order to be more patriotic towards the nation, kindly share these videos and episodes to your friends and relatives of the new generation. See, if I have posted a video how to make tandoori chicken in American style, within a day, at least millions of viewers would have subscribed this channel. But unfortunately, it seems that the vast majority is not so interested in this type of the hidden pages of the true history of our nation. Anyway, thank you very much for your kind attention to my words. See you in the next episode. Jai Hind.